What's up, guys? We're back. We're racing, and we're talking F1 day 6 of the Barcelona test before the F1 action gets underway. And the major talking point, we'll get straight into it, is Sebastian Vettel. He had a major off just in the first part of turn 3, and it really wrecked the car. It cost the team over 5 hours to repair the damage, and Charles Leclerc managed to get out in the afternoon with about 7 minutes of running left, so that severely hampered any programs they had for the day today. So Sebastian has gone on to explain that it felt like to him something on the front left of the car broke. So whether that be suspension, maybe something to do with the steering. Obviously, it's failed. It looks like he's gone straight on into the barriers. We'll get onto footage a bit later in this video of what exactly happened, courtesy of someone else. But it's really hampered Ferrari's day and the feel-good factor they had. I'm sure it's not going to deter them. They're going to be back out on track smashing it, but there's going to be a bit of concern until they fully understand what has gone wrong there. Just a funny little picture here. Fernando Alonso doing his duties, turning up in the paddock. He is an ambassador for McLaren, which means he'll be doing some like promotional stuff in different cities and the older spec cars. And he's pretty much their number 3 driver, as well as I believe Jack Aiken has been announced as well recently, or that might have been Renault. Don't quote me on that. So we're going to move on with some news. That was the major talking point from today, was Sebastian's off. And like I say, we'll get onto some footage later on. We spoke a bit before about Mick Schumacher entering into the F1 car for the first time in about April. However, this could be actually after the Bahrain Grand Prix. News has it in Alfa Romeo. So that'll be good to see him out there, see what he's got up against his teammates, especially Kimi Raikkonen, will be an excellent benchmark for him to apply his trait. He's a Ferrari young driver. He's on their books, and he'll be competing in the F2 Championship this year. So it'll be interesting how he fares within that. So he's on the shortlist for Bahrain. So there's a couple of tests. I think it said somewhere about the test dates. There's also one after the Barcelona Grand Prix. So if you want me to get along to that, I'm seriously considering hopping on a plane again, getting over to Barcelona for a couple of days, getting you some on-track analysis, insight, and opinions from all of you guys. It would be great to see. So we're going to run through some of the driver quotes just to get a mood about what the drivers are thinking, feeling. We're well into testing now. This is after the 5th day yesterday. We don't have the transcript from today. However, Hamilton said it's been a beautiful day. It's good to see that even more fans turned out. The program is feeling relatively good. Improvement on last week and a good step. So all positive words from there. Valtteri suffered some unreliability on his first out lap and had to change the power unit, which was unfortunate for him. So a bit hampered him. Sebastian Vettel and Ferrari really picking up the trend they've had all testing after day 5, that they're still trying to understand the car, trying various setups in the afternoon, and we had to go we went to go on the super soft tire the next couple of days. I think all the teams are going to be looking at low fuel because the car's a different beast. As soon as you take all of that fuel, all of that weight out of there, what she really got when she's on the ragged edge, how is she dancing? Is she a great dancing partner, or is she someone you have to keep in check all the time? Pierre Gasly, so he said he pushed a little bit more today, so he done 136 laps, best lap of 117.7. Good bag of laps under his belt. It's getting to understand his car. You've got to get used to your car, of course, to give you that confidence going into the early rounds. And Lance Stroll as well, he managed to get 82 laps under his belt the previous day, and it was the smoothest day in testing so far, and he completed most of the things by what he's saying in here. So most of the team's pretty happy. McLaren, they've been fastest the past 2 days, so they've really been trying to show their hand, really trying to understand the car to the maximum effect. They know they're up against big contenders. Haas have established themselves very well. Alfa Romeo looks like they're going to throw the marker down pretty quick, get out of the blocks really fast, and really compete in this midfield fight. You've got the likes of Renault there as well, so it's not going to be an easy task for McLaren. It's only getting harder year on year, I'd say. So let's talk about the Mercedes, their package from week 1 to week 2. It's a completely different package. Maybe the team understood at an early phase in their development something might not be right, and processes are in place, so they couldn't delay what components, essential items that, just for the shakedown runs, for instance. I think that's what they've brought to the first week, and now they've really brought in what they really want on the car and what they know has a chance of really working. Maybe understanding some of the problems they've had with some of their pace, because they do have problems. And the drivers weren't so happy. So it's good to see Lewis getting some positive comments earlier yesterday, just on his feedback about the car. Apparently, Alonso brought his helmet to Barcelona in case he was allowed to jump in the back of the car. You never know what happens. We saw, I think it was Kevin Magnussen have problems with his seat. So Fittipaldi was on standby. He managed to jump in and get himself some laps, which you've got to be in the right place in the right time to drive one of these cars sometimes. So Renault, it only targets the lucky podium in 2019, and I think that's going to be the best option, in a rain hit safety car race or something like that, that one of these boys can get themselves on the podium. We know Danny Rick's got the pedigree. Hulkenberg's yet to show it, really, so it'll be interesting. Magnussen's been another one talking about the DRS, how it's changed this year. Not the DRS necessarily, but how you can follow a car, and how he thinks it might be too easy in certain tracks to overtake, which is a little tongue-in-cheek from him. So, he felt quite comfortable compared to the previous years, following cars through certain corners. I think he spent about a lap and a half, and he was managed to stay with it pretty easily without degrading his tyres, because you do lose downforce, you lose that grip for the corners, and you're always going to be second best if you're the car behind, which has been in previous years. So that 30% may help. We'll see if it's too much with the DRS. Hopefully it'll be restricted in certain circuits, and we won't have 2 or 3 deployment zones, which has been crazy of past. So Rosberg's no longer working with Kubica, apparently. He's not interested in any F1 kind of management role. He's managed Kubica in the past. However, that's not going to be the case anymore. He's focusing on other projects. Getting on to some other news which I picked up on earlier today. So, good to see Mick Schumacher. Let me know if you want me to get down to the test. Bring you the latest news and insight. We're going to get onto some of these upgrade package for Mercedes later on. So Pirelli reveals the 2019 compound pace difference. So this is an interesting analysis from Pirelli, and how they think the difference will be between the different compounds. So for this season, Pirelli has decided to call their tyres with C1 to C5, C1 being the softest, and C1 being hardest, C5 being the softest of all the tyres. And only 3 components will be used in the course of a race. So they'll be known as a soft, which will be a red marked tyre, a medium, which will be a yellow marked tyre, and a hard, which will be a white tyre. So watch out for that in all the races. That's what they'll be referring to. It's going to be confusing between that, C1, C2, understanding exactly what's bolted on the car. I think they should have left it exactly how it was with the colour system. People were getting used to it, fully understood it. So I don't know why they've had to really cause more trouble than what it's worth. So the difference between C2 and C3 components is about 0.6 seconds, just like the difference between C4 and C5, the fastest, which is a difference around 0.7 seconds. So there is steps in this tyre. It's all going to be out there. Longevity, what sort of stint you can get out of the tyres. So that's what teams have been doing long runs on these tyres, because they need to understand simulation, races, just to see how they can use this tyre, how they can get to the end of the race, just to start with. So this is how we can see it here. So if we had to put them all on display, the C1, if used, will just be completely white, and it won't have the marking on the side here. Then we've got the C2, which has the marking, pretty much the same. Then we've got the yellow, which is like the medium compound. That's also might be referred to as a soft, which is confusing me. We've got the C4, which will be red, and then the C5, the softest, will be just a black wall almost. So quite like the black wall in a way, but it's just something new, just something irritating to get used to. So you can see the compounds, the pace difference here between the different tires, and we can also see the different working ranges of the tire. This is initial information. Obviously, it'll probably change over the course of the year when we get more data from different circuits. Just got a few notifications if we just get rid of here. So further news, what else is going on? Honda with more laps than they could ever imagine, I'm pretty sure. It's been a great test so far for them. and I think they're going to be really. I think they're going to win a race this year. Let's put it that way. I think they're going to win a race. So now we're going to go over. We're going to have a bit of a look on the imagery that we've got. We're going to look at Seb's incident in a bit more depth. So watch out for that in just a moment. So courtesy of another streamer, we can see Sebastian's the lead car here. He's going around the corner. He just starts to turn in, and as you can see the plume of smoke already just skidding off, gone straight into the barrier. He's gone quite deep in there. It would have probably triggered the G-force sensor in the car, so he's been taken down to the medical complex just for a check over, just to make sure all the right bits are in the right places. You can see there it's just a straight line pretty much, so doesn't look like the car was a control issue, like in terms of balance or anything. It looks like it's just been a straight failure. Sebastian said in the comments, like we said earlier, that he felt something go on the front left, whether it be suspension or just something to do with the steering, like track rod or something. I don't know, but let me know what you know, guys. Here's an image of the front wing of the Mercedes. You can see where it's got that kink in the nose now. It's trying to just get a bit more pressure coming under the nose there and coming onto like the barge board, the front end of the car, because that's where they're really working well now. It's been expanded quite a bit considerably, and we'll see a few images of that now. It's a really intricate design as well. The end plates, you can see the really high raised profile on the Mercedes, whereas some of the other teams are going for a lower profile on the outer edges. So you can see, look at all this intricacy here on the barge boards, all this carbon fiber work here. You can see it at its raw and best. So it'd be difficult to get a sponsorship logo on one of them panels there. They'll be changing like clockwork. Mercedes, this is the second configuration that they've been running of their car. The first week was just pretty much like a base model. They probably got data, run that on the simulation up against what they had in the simulators. And now they're going to put this performance package, by the look of it, on the car. Look at this beautiful, intricate little design here, all around the halo at the top. Little double sort of wing there. Again, just to manage the air as best as possible all the way around the top of the driver's head and away from that area, which can be a real drag to them. Literally, you can see the mirrors there. Again, got some little aerodynamic features to them. Whether drivers will be able to use them or not, it's another thing, considering when they're driving at that kind of speeds. You can see the rear wing here. So you can see the T-wing, or the double T-wing here we got on the Mercedes car. Not really a thing of beauty, but it's doing a good job. It's tidying up air before it meets or mates with the rear wing of the car. See a really good aerial shot there, looking down. Look how the top of the Coke bottle there, how tightly packaged that car is, and it's delivering all of that horsepower just to them rear wheels alone. So a credible feat of engineering every time I look at these cars. So here you can just see it in full view. This was Lewis going out, getting his first runs, getting some airflow data off these massive rakes that they put on the cars. They put them there just to measure what's coming off the front of the car. They do bolt them to the rear wing as well, that you'll see, just to measure what pressures they're getting in certain points of the car, just to understand if it's meeting their expectations or not, or how much it's off, so they can recalibrate, and try another performance part in steps to come. So this is the Ferrari. So we're looking at it's not a great picture actually. So I was looking at the left hand, the old rear wheel. I'll try and get another picture for the right rear wheel of Ferrari. They've got loads of holes in them now. So this is something that Mercedes trialed to great effect over the last year or so. And also McLaren have followed suit, which we'll see shortly. We'll see some close-ups of the wheels. It can be a bit of a tricky one. It's a bit of a sticky area because technically it is a movable aerodynamic device. You can see all of these little grooves in the actual rim of the car. They do have holes within them, and it's how it generates airflow in and around there. It helps with cooling. It helps them regulate the rear tire temperatures. So we see when Mercedes introduced that's when they really got on top of the setting up their car, because before it was really tricky to set up to get the tires in the right operating window, should I say. There was always too much on the front rears, and it was never coming together whatsoever. So let's get into the times from this test session. Test 2, day 2, day 6 overall of the test session. We got a McLaren again for the second day running, at top of the order. So that's Carlos Sainz. He got 1:17.1, which is the fastest overall lap time from all of the test days. He managed to clock up 130 laps, and he did do that on the softest of softs, the C5, I do believe. Followed by Sergio Perez. He managed to rack up 88 laps, which is a good day for him. They got 1:17.8. Then we had Vettel. So this pace was set early on before he's off. He managed to get a 1:18.1. I think that was on a bit of a harder tyre. So following Vettel, we had his old teammate and arch rival Kimi Raikkonen, 1:18.2. Just a few hundreds or a few thousands, shall we say, off of the Ferrari, which is good to see. Followed by, we've got Grosjean heading up with 1:18.3. And he managed to get in 120 laps. 120 laps, reading that right? Yeah, Raikkonen 113, Grosjean 120, followed by Verstappen, who got some good mileage again for Honda and Red Bull under the belt with 128 laps. That's a lot of work, guys. That's, a couple of races in one day. So that's going to be taking a lot out there. The guys out there, the track's been pretty good in terms of grip wise. So they're going to really be working these cars to good effect and getting their real money's worth out of them. Danny Kvyat, he was in 7th, 1:18.6. He got 101 laps. Then we had Bottas and Hamilton. Again, Mercedes not really showing their true reflection of pace, we don't think. And that's not going to be really until the final, probably a couple of days, we hope. And if not, it'll be, in the early practice sessions, P1, 2 of Albert Park. We'll really see them take the cat out of the bag. And then for quali, we all know they like to bring the party mode into the mix. Hulkenberg, he was in 10th with 1:19.0. Kubica 1:19.3. Kubica managed to rack up 130 laps, which is great to see for him. He really needs to get them miles under his belt, get that stamina up, just get used to driving these cars again, because he is hampered. He's using 80% one hand, 20% the other. So credit to Kubica. And Danny Rick, he managed to get 72 laps. He got to 1:22.5, so that suggests to us that they've been focusing on just their long race pace. We had Leclerc. He managed to get one time lap. That was after Sebastian binned the car. Well, he didn't bin the car. That's unfair to say. He had a failure in the car, unexpected failure on the front left of the car, put him into the barrier. So the boys managed to get I think 7 laps under their belts, probably install laps, a lot of them, and going through the pits, etc. Just to do like a clutch bite points, etc. Just to sink the car after such a massive damage to the rear of the car. So we're going to have another look as well at I think this icon here, BOT, is just the speeds through the speed trap. So Merc looking really quick there. Who else of note? Alpha. Pretty compressed. That's what Fernando Alonso thinks this season will be, a compressed season. He thinks that the midfield teams will be closer to the front runners, and he thinks them midfield teams will be a lot closer within themselves. So if that's right, had a dash of rain in there, or some grid penalties, and it's going to make up for an exciting season. Let me know your thoughts. How do you think this season's going to pan out? Do you think it's going to be one to remember or one not to remember? I think with all of this uncertainty, after 6 days of testing, I think it's going to be a good year. I think different tracks, different teams, different drivers are going to turn up to different events and have varying different levels of success. Thanks for watching the video, guys. If you want us to do a live Q&A, love to do it very soon. Let me know where, when, what's your preference, what's your subjects you want to talk about, and we'll get the show on the road. Thanks for watching, and see you soon from We're Racing.